segment of today's conference, that is session 3 of technical presentations, centered on the theme Building Trust, Ensuring Security Across 5G, FTTH and Satellite Infrastructure. This session dives into some of the most pressing aspects of national digital infrastructure, securing critical networks, ensuring cyber resilience, and protecting data and satellite communications, all essential pillars in our journey towards a secure and smart digital future. And ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to invite our distinguished session chair, Shri R. Shakyaji, Additional Director General Haryana LSA and Circle Head Department of Telecommunications. Shri Shakya has been a senior official with the Department of Telecommunication and has contributed extensively to digital policy implementation across the telecom circles. His insights will set the tone for today's technical discussions. Let's put our hands together to welcome our session chair, Shri R. Shakyaji. I would now like to invite our eminent speakers. Our first speaker is Mr. Lakshmi Narayan R. Bharat, Head of Product Management and Astronomy Technologies, a pioneer in cutting-edge wireless solutions. He will be speaking on the theme of E-band is revolutionizing the wireless broadband, highlighting how this spectrum band is transforming wireless infrastructure and shaping the next generation of connectivity. Warm welcome to you, Mr. Bhatt, to the stage. I would like to invite Shri Khandagale Dhammapal, Anil Director, Satellite Finance, Wireless Planning and Finance Wing, Department of Telecommunications, Government of India. He brings the strong policy and fiscal insight to India's satellite communication landscape. And the presentation he will be giving is titled Satellite Communications in India's Digital Vision, Investment Policy and Fiscal Frameworks. And we warmly welcome you, Mr. Khandagale. Our next expert is Mr. Alok Gupta, founder and CEO of Pyramid Cybersecurity and Forensics, a renowned name in cyber threat intelligence, forensic audits, and national critical infrastructure protection. And the theme he is going to present today is Critical Infrastructure Protection, the New Frontline in National Security. And finally, I would like to invite for this session Mr. Debashish Bhattacharya. He's Senior Deputy Director General of Broadband India Forum. With extensive experience in broadband policy and standards, Mr. Bhattacharya will address the growing need for strong governance and fiber-based networks. And with those words of introduction, I hand over to our chair, Shri R. Shakyaji, to kindly carry forward the proceedings of this session, beginning with his opening remarks. We will request our presenters to kindly conclude their presentations in about 12 minutes each, and we will have question and answers in the end after all the presentations are over, if the time permits. And I would request Shakya sir to kindly close the session by 3:30 p.m. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. It is my extreme privilege to be part of today's discussion. Shravan month और ढेर सारे लोगों की यात्रा गंगा जल उठा के कंधों पर और देश के कॉर्नर कॉर्नर से जाके भगवान शिव के चरणों में अर्पित करना. And probably if I interlink that part with our discussion is the first two letters of the topic, which says building trust. Right? And what for? Ensuring security. And that security has to be all across technologies, 5G, fiber to the home, and satellite. I have the eminent speakers with me from the diverse fields defining the critical infrastructure. Generally, we had learned the critical information infrastructure, protections, and the other things related to that. We do have a speaker on the security in the today's world, starting from your small things relating to the switching on of the refrigerator or the tube light or the air condition, to the warfare in the past India-Pakistan conflict, or ongoing Israel-Hamas, or the ongoing Ukraine-Russia. We know the importance of the security in terms of intelligence gathering, security in terms of saving the infrastructure, and also the other side of the security, destroying the critical infrastructure of the enemical entities. So that is again a very important aspect of the today's ICT world. You have the policymaker, the industrialist. So let us have all the views together. Probably I can put, I will request all the speakers to use the right Hindi words are like गागर में सागर आपको भरना है, because आपका जो field है, they are multiple, and many of them are interlinked and many of them are not even interlaced with those kind of the requirements. So it is a huge task for all of us. I don't want to say that after lunch it is heavy. There is nothing heavy like you are full, right? So you are full with the stomach, you are full with your openness of the mind, and you are full with attitude and aptitude to go with us for next 1.5 hours. I'll try to discuss much on each aspects of the discussions. Once the presentations are over, I think if I speak too much in the beginning, it's not going to lead the path for my speakers, or let my speakers be open and frank, whatever they want to present, let them present. Only my humble request to all of them is, if they can reduce their timings from 12 minutes to the 10, and let 5 minutes be available for all the learned speakers. We are here 5 persons on the dais only for the sake of having the designation of the speaker, but probably all the people in front of us, they are as intelligent, as good, more visionary, more inclusive in terms of their approach and the contribution to the country. So let us have some time available for them, to listen them, to respond to them to the best of our abilities. With this, now I think we will start the discussion, and I will call the first speaker. So let me request Mr. Anil Kandagale, Director, Satellite Finance, Wireless Planning and Finance Wing, Department of Telecommunications. Please, you can make your presentation. And again, request to limit to 10 minutes.
Thank you, Shakya sir. Very good afternoon to all of you. It's indeed a pleasure to speak in front of this august presence. The topic which has been assigned to me is satellite communications in India, digital vision, investment, policy, and fiscal framework. Now, in India, there is a lot of digital transformation going on. ICT technologies are the medium through which any country can transform its society into knowledge economy. So considering this important aspect, our Honorable Prime Minister has launched important digital mission in 2015 itself. One of the vision was to enable the provision of telecom services to all the citizens of the country. The main aim was to bridge the digital divide between digital haves and digital have-nots. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. So one of the vision was digital infrastructure as a utility to each and every citizen of the country. One of the important pillars for this, broadband highways and universal access to mobile connectivity. Now, if you see the geography of the country, it's diverse. On the one end in the north, we are having rugged mountainous terrain. Same in northeast India. We are having desert region in the eastern part of the country. Also, we are having a group of islands in Andaman, Nicobar, and Lakshadweep Island. So there is always going to be a challenge in terms of provision of these services through traditional means of telecom services. So in that case, the satellite telecommunication it can be an enabler to reach out to the unserved and underserved regions of the country. I will be going through the major policy and fiscal frameworks which have been given by the different ministries, including the Department of Telecommunication. And these initiatives, I'm very sure, are leading to the FDI investment or investment in the SATCOM sector, and whatever the steps which will be doing in the near future, this will be leading to the further investment in the sector. So if you see, the National Digital Communication Policy of 2018 was indeed a visionary document as far as SATCOM is concerned. It said that we need to explore the other technologies such as 5G as well as the satellite telecommunication to reach out to the unconnected and unserved regions of the country. Another important point was to review the SATCOM policy and to enable the growth of the sector as a whole. So this document served as a precursor which led to the SATCOM reforms in 2021. Where we have simplified the SATCOM processes. We have established the guidelines for grant of the commercial satellite licenses as well as the captive licenses. Through this, we just wanted to do the ease of doing business. For example, it's very important when you want to attract investment, your business process has to be as simple as like that. So if I want to highlight at that point of time, let's say for getting any satellite licenses, almost 6 month time was required. So the processes were such way re-engineered such that it was envisaged that this time has to be reduced from 6 months to 6 weeks. So we develop a faceless Saral Sanchar portal, and the different the stakeholders such as Department of Space, be it Department of Telecom, or within Department of Telecom, NOCC, SMC. So all these stakeholders analyze the application togetherly in order to save the time, and in principle is approval. So instead of the silos approach, okay, we are working in unison. So that's why it is leading to, it will lead to decrease in time for grant of any licenses. Whatever the guidelines are very much clear, means what are the documents or what are the formalities, financial formality, technical formalities, security related formalities, which one has to follow. These are clearly mentioned in the guidelines issued for the grant of the licenses. Another is that we have enhanced the scope of the SATCOM licenses to provide user terminal stations on moving platforms as well as satellite devices, satellite-based IoT and D2D devices. Further was the rationalization of the various charges. So earlier there used to be NOCC charges of 21 lakh per transponder. Further on the top of that, we used to charge 18% of interest, which was very heavy, and it was unnecessary sort of burden. So what we decided to remove these charges. So in order to encourage this SATCOM players, a lot of initiatives were taken at the DOT level itself. Now, major development one can say is that Indian Telecom Act. Everyone must be aware that last 2-3 years there was a lot of debate going on that how this spectrum for the satellite-based communication services should be allotted, whether it should be auction or whether it should be administrative. So this critical policy dilemma was settled to the means of Indian Telecom Act. So it was codified that for the satellite-based communications services, this spectrum will be allotted administratively. So the Schedule 1 of the Act itself says that satellite-based services such as teleports, television channel, D2H, DSNG, VSAT, GMPCS, NLD, MSS service in LNS band, for these entries, the spectrum will be given administratively. So this has given certainty to, let's say, domestic as well as foreign players, and no more uncertainty remains as far as this, whether it should be auction or what or some other else. Now, Indian policy, Indian space policies, you can see that I was mentioning that there is a whole of government approach. Instead of acting in silos, this government as a whole we are acting. And even Department of Space has come up with Indian space policies, and we have opened up the space sector as a whole to all the private players, right from, let's say, satellite design, launch of vehicles, then ground station services. All these the sectors are open up for private sector, and even the role of various agencies has been specified. Like earlier, ISRO used to do all these activities, like R&D, ISRO used to do. Then launch of vehicle, ISRO used to do. Manufacturing, ISRO used to do. Right now, what we have done, Department of Space has done that they have partitioned the roles. So, InSpace is the leading single window regulator as well as promoter for private sector participation in the space economy. Another important intervention has been FDI. So, right from 49% to 100%, different sectors are open up for investment. If you see manufacturing components and subsystems for satellites, 100% investment through automatic route has been envisaged. As far as the manufacturing and operation, satellite data products, ground segment, user segment, up to 74%. And in case of launch of satellite, launch vehicles, 49% direct automatic route investment. And above that, you have to take government permission. To encourage investment, we do have Telecom Technology Development Fund, so that R&D activities to enable rollout of the services, rollout of the technologies in rural areas. We do have TTDF, and through this we are encouraging R&D activities also. National Broadband Mission, we want to connect the unconnected 2.5 lakh of village through optical fiber, as well as this mission says that we are open to other alternative technologies, such as satellite communications also. So this mission will be for the period of 2025 to 2030. Another is a productivity link incentive. This is for the basically semiconductor and advanced manufacturing, but ultimately it will be indirectly benefiting SATCOM sector too. Government had decided to set up satellite monitoring facility at the cost of 900 crore to enable monitoring and regulation to sort of interference related issues. So this will provide a sort of assurance to the various SATCOM providers to invest in India. Fiscal measures. So coming up to this fiscal, in 2023, as far as satellite launch vehicles is considered, it has been the GST exemption has been extended to private players also. Further, a 1,000 crore venture fund, capital fund has been set up by Government of India to encourage the R&D facilities. The customs, there has been reduction in custom duty in case of ground station installation, spare part, consumable, etc. So, as you can see, this various policy initiatives, definitely they are leading to the investment in the country. A lot of major foreign players, foreign satellite players are very much interested to do investment in India. If you see in 2014, there were only one space-related startup. But right now you can see almost 200 space-related startups are coming up in India. So, environment is very much encouraging even the policy making is a continuous process. Even right now, there are a couple of try recommendations related to the framework authorization, or let's say terms and conditions for of assignment of spectrum to SATCOM players, or network licenses framework, and parallelly, based on this recommendation, there are rules are also being made under the Telecom Act. So once these issues are finalized or settled, then definitely it will create a positive atmosphere. Certainty is there, regulation are in place. So we'd be looking forward to a lot of investment in this crucial sector also. With this, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anil. Very good presentation, starting from the 2015, covering various aspects of all related steps taken by the government, and in the current phase where you can have your own satellite, you can have launching, you can use the facilities, the certainty in terms of the spectrum availability, the process of the availability. I think a great presentation. And one of the things which he highlighted was the use of the TTDF fund for developing the products. And I have my friend here who is benefited by that fund, representing Gazprom. So let me take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Lakshmi Narayan Bhatt to make his presentations, and then let us listen from the investor point of view, he is a manufacturer, he is a designer, he is a developer, he is a startup, he is one of the promising PM awardee for the product. So let us listen from him, how does he perceives or react on the policies stated by my friend Anil in the first session. But sir, please.
No, thank you, Shakya sir. I think आपने context set कर दिया है that we have to build trust, and for all the audience and for all of us, right? The session after lunch is always a bit difficult for all of us here, but there are three things we can do to bring the energy in the room. One is कोई झगड़ा करा दो, तो like Wi-Fi versus cellular, ठीक है? या तो सेकंड ऑप्शन है कि कोई कंट्रोवर्सी करा दो, कोई some scam statement you make and saying that फलाना ढिमका ऐसा हो गया. थर्ड इज कि कोई बोल्ड स्टेटमेंट करो. So what I am going to do today is not the number one, number two, but making some bold statement. Okay, so thank you for setting the context of trust, and let's go to the next slide. I think you already talked about Astrom. I will not talk about the company more, but more about the technology and why I think it's a bold statement. Okay, so for all of you know, right, what is E-band? So I just want to spend a minute on what is E-band and how does it play a role in security. I'll come to that, but before that, what is E-band and where does it play in the overall network infrastructure, right? So if you look at any network today, the network has some way to reach the tower or way to reach your enterprise, right? And that is the primary mechanism is fiber today, right? But as you all know, fiber cannot go to all the places, especially in hilly area or areas where there is no ROI to put a fiber. And that's where E-band comes in. So E-band basically is nothing but a wireless technology which will provide you fiber-like backhaul speeds, in a very simple English terms. Now, I'll tell you why speed is important, but the second most part is also latency, right? So if you look at 5G SLAs, 5G has certain use cases where they say the SLA has to be within 1 millisecond, the latency has to be within 1 millisecond and so on, right? So you can get those SLAs only when you have a backhaul which provides that. Okay, and E-band helps you provide those SLAs, whether it is Wi-Fi or whether it is 5G. I just want to, probably I'll go to the next slide. E-band operates in a very, very, very high frequency called EHF, extremely high frequency band. So far, no company was operating in this frequency, neither an access technology, not even Wi-Fi, or other backhaul technologies were still operating in 6, 11, or around 15 to 20, kind of gigahertz, right? But in E-band, you actually have a bandwidth, where you have 71 to 86, 10 gigahertz plus 10 gigahertz, right? So almost, and within that you can use 1 gigahertz or 2 gigahertz. In India, only 250 is allowed, 250 megahertz. I think we are trying to put together a statement saying that, the Wireless Planning Commission can allow more bandwidth there. In US, in Europe, 1 gigahertz to 2 gigahertz allowed. Just imagine in this kind of bandwidths, you can get 4 to 8 Gbps speeds, almost fiber-like speeds with fiber-like latency on the wireless link, point-to-point, a line-of-sight wireless link. There are challenges, as the slide says that, right? Path loss, rain loss, right? But there are technological methods to mitigate those challenges. And the technology, E-band technology has been in the lab for some years, but it has come out of the lab in production. So there are technologies which we have implemented in India called adaptive channel modulation, adaptive channel and the bandwidth change. And all this allows you to automatically adjust the link based on either rain or fog or snow. I think I talked about E-band. As I said, मेरे को झगड़ा लगाना नहीं है, but E-band is a backhaul used for Wi-Fi and 5G both. So why 5G, right? As I said, 5G in fact requires multi-gigabit backhaul. It will not work with 300, 100, 500. No, it will require at least. I think there are in European standards body ETSI has encouraged all the 5G providers to move from microwave to E-band. It's a very bold statement, and a lot of microwave vendors, manufacturers may be in this room here. I'm going to make this bold statement not because ETSI in Europe is saying that, because the technology provides you a very broad highway. It's like having a highway of 10 lanes, you can get 8 to 10 Gbps speeds, of course with 1000 megahertz bandwidth, as compared to today's backhaul, which provides you 300 to 400 Mbps, right? What happens today is the 5G, the 4G and 5G SLAs are not monitored today as much. So the operators can get away with a very small or a very low speed backhaul, right? Customer experience may suffer, voice may work, data will, you'll get some little data, latency बढ़ जाएगा, whatever, right? Jitter will be more. But in US and Europe, the SLA requirements are more stricter, and hence the government is not mandating, encouraging E-band. Okay, and I believe that the same thing will happen here. It has started. I think BSNL, Jio, all of them have already started implementing, deploying E-band. We are deploying E-band in BSNL. We have deployed in USOF, and so on. I think I talked about it. I want to bring about the aspect of security here, and I will do that with a picture actually. This picture here. If you look at the left-hand side here, right, there are two wireless radios, A, B, making a link. If you look at the yellow-colored beam width here, right, typical microwave radios, radiate the radio beams at a wider beam. The beam angle could be 10 degrees, 20 degrees, depends on the antenna they use, of course. But look at the right-hand side on the E-band. The E-bands, one of the characteristics of a radio wave at 70 to 80 gigahertz is it's like a pencil beam. It's almost like an optical beam, almost like 1 degree beam. So look at the jammer there. A jammer device can have easy access to the radio waves which are there, the microwave radio waves, right? But on the E-band, the jammer has to be as precise as the E-band. So the jammer has to be like finding a needle and figuring out the hole to put the needle in, right? So jamming is also equally difficult, and that is one of the reasons. I'll take a 30 seconds more on this point here. That is one of the reasons E-band has also been used by the US military now for their forward area communications, right? Because what they are saying is, okay, there is electronic warfare, jamming, there is also anti-jamming, so there is always, both sides are equally, good, bad, and depends on who wins on that day. But E-band is actually one technology which they believe that the jamming also is going to be very difficult. One is because of the pencil beam. Second is the jammers also have to work at 70 to 86 gigahertz. And mind you, there are no off-the-shelf chipsets available at 70, 86 gigahertz. Whereas today, I can go to the market and buy a 6 gigahertz jammer off the shelf. A consumer can buy a jammer and put it somewhere. Whereas an 86 gigahertz jammers also are not available. Even if they are available, it is very difficult to jam. So E-band provides a natural electronic warfare mitigation or anti-jamming properties. And that's the reason, sir, that it also helps you build trust in an important element of the network, which is called the backhaul. I'll probably... Okay, you may say, "Arey, sab acha cheez bata diya, isme kharab cheez kya hai abhi?" You know, so this is one slide. So what are the challenges, right? The challenges is any wireless technology will have rain loss, path loss, loss due to, you know, whatever, fog and everything. But in this specific frequency, there is no loss due to fog, no loss due to snow, only rain is a property. And for that, as long as you do proper link planning, and we have tools to do that, as long as you do proper, as I said, adaptive channel modulation, adaptive bandwidth selection on the fly, those are the technologies which we have implemented now on the radio. It helps you to plan a link which is 99.99% available. I'm not saying 5 nines, 99.99% available. There are other technologies also, I think the slide talks about it, called multi-band. So a lot of people actually start using E-band plus microwave together and aggregate using a layer 2 switch outside. This is the latest trend I have seen, because you will not throw away all the current microwave which is there, right? So uske saath mein one more E-band, and the frequencies are very far off. So there is no co-channel interference, nothing like that, right? So link aggregation or multi-link aggregation is another way people are using E-band and microwave to get 99.999, 59. All the telecom folks here will look for 5 nines. If you do link aggregation, yes, 59 is possible. I'll probably pause here. I will not go through the entire slide. This is the last slide I have, but I just wanted to, as I said, I started with saying that I want to make a bold statement, and this is a bold statement that E-band is the next generation of microwave in extremely high frequencies. And there are various points I have mentioned here on the slide. I would like to pause here. I know maybe you can read it. We'll probably give some time back for the Q&A. With that, I have my presentation, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much for enumerating the advantages of the E-band over the traditional microwave facilities, especially in terms of the bandwidth availability, taking care of the radio-related issues to the fading and other aspects. Hopefully, he has touched one point with respect to the pencil beam and the use in the war-like situations. We will have the specific question thereon, but before we going to that, he touched the aspect of the security that probably more than the cost, more than the bandwidth availability, more than the other aspects, today's world needs the security. So I think it is my duty to call a next speaker who is going to speak about the security, entire spectrum. Spectrum really do not mean the radio frequency spectrum, but in terms of the spectrum of the technologies. So let me welcome Mr. Alok Gupta ji to share his views on the critical infrastructure protection, especially in the new front line in national security perspective. Gupta ji, please.
Thank you, Shakya ji. Eminent panelists, wonderful audience who's still awake, after a lovely lunch. And of course, Shakya ji started with, a keyword which is called trust. And I think the critical infrastructure protection, the theme for my talk today, is fundamentally built on trust. So nothing but trust, trust, and trust. So I think, sir, appropriateness comes in from there. Just one second. Where is the slider? This is the one?
Can you help me with the pointer?
Okay, so I'll skip this. So today let's look at the agenda from the session takeaways. I think I will take some examples of what is critical infrastructure protection first. And then one of the key components of that is the communication, which is what the theme would be for today, because everything else is so interdependent on telecom and communication that it directly affects these other critical infrastructure. Then I'll lay some emphasis on how do we really go ahead and protect that particular thing, critical infrastructure, and also some aspects of what zero trust security would be. So critical infrastructure is nothing but something which is very, very important for any nation or for any economy. And if you look at some of the examples of critical infrastructure, we all use energy in our day-to-day life. We use transportation. We have communications, which I just mentioned is one of the key. Then water resources, then financial systems, public health, food distribution, and public administration. And not to forget our defense infrastructure, because we just recently noticed during the Operation Sindoor and the other conflicts which we had in the past, that how important is defense from a national protection perspective, and also it is a very, very important part of the critical infrastructure. Now, I'll focus today on the CTI, which is called the Critical Telecommunication Infrastructure, because that is the key for anything. In the world of digitization and the digital transformation we are going through, without any internet connectivity, without broadband, without the telecom infrastructure being available, I think everything else is so interdependent that they will just fall down if the communication sector, goes away. So let's look at the key aspects of this. One of the key aspects of this is the designation of the critical infrastructure. So one has to clearly define, what forms as part of the critical infrastructure when we talk about the communication technology. Then we're talking about compliance and security, which is very, very key, because there are a lot of sectoral compliances which the telecom sector has to comply with, and not just the compliance, but also they have to in real time protect both the physical infrastructure as well as the cyber infrastructure. One of the requirements laid down, as part of the 2024 rules is that the telecom companies or the communication industry need to have a chief telecommunication security officer. So that's a mandatory requirement now, which is a very essential requirement, because unless you have a custodian who's looking at it in a full-time focused manner, your security may get compromised. Then comes the security incidents, because there is a need for, doing a continuous monitoring of any security incidents which are happening within the telecom infrastructure. So it's important to have a real-time, log analysis. It is very important to, have threat intelligence and security information event management mechanisms being built there. Then what, the regulator and, other best practices demand is that there should be a network segmentation, so that just in case of any failures or, cyber attacks or any, malfunctioning happening in the core network, they should be isolated from the, the other ancillary networks, so that, the interdependence goes away. Then we had already spoken about the real-time threat detection, because I think the threats are fairly advanced today. And these threats are no more just the DDoS attacks we used to have, earlier. the massive velocity at which these attacks are happening and the volume, it affects is going to be tremendous. So there is a need for having, SIEMs and threat intel systems, which are also built using some machine learning algorithms and AI, so that, our protection is foolproof. And then we also need to look at the interdependencies we have for this particular critical infrastructure with other critical infrastructure. So let's say if the energy sector goes down, will the telecom infrastructure work? No, because the telecom infrastructure is interdependent with the energy sector. Vis-a-vis, if there is a communication infrastructure which goes down, then the other sectors get affected. So there are a lot of interdependencies we need to be aware of. Then one of the requirements as far as the 2024 rules is that we need to have a compliance to the cybersecurity standards. So I'm naming here two standards. One is the NIST CSF cybersecurity framework, and the other one is the 27001. So one is coming from the Department of Commerce in the US called NIST, and the other one is a more European standard. So what are the cyber threats which are faced by the telecom industry? The key is that because they have a lot of sensitive data, and with the advent of DPDP law, we have to be very careful about how do we protect the confidential information or sensitive information so that we don't come under a threat of under a penalization of DPDP. Then there is a lot of continuous attacks which are happening using ransomware. So that is another area which has a problem. Then social engineering attacks are happening, and a lot of deep fake things are happening in the communication sector. That is also very dangerous for the sector. And then, as I mentioned, APTs and DDoS attacks, they are also very predominant. Now, how do we quickly prevent this? So I would first lay emphasis on the cybersecurity awareness, because human could be the weakest link. We may have lots of tools, we may have lots of processes and policies in place, but unless the humans are aware what is the awareness they need to have, or what is the hygiene they need to build, like in our personal hygiene, we have to maintain ourselves to be healthy and clean. So is the hygiene which is required for users on how to use ethically any IT system. Then there is also a mechanism by which continuous training could be provided using a cyber range, right from basic cybersecurity awareness right up to the advanced techniques where red teams are fighting with the blue teams, and then making their defense fortified. Then there is a continuous need for doing a current state assessment, which is where IT and cybersecurity audits come into picture. Things like vulnerability assessment, pen testing, these are activities which fortify your ability to see how much water you are in terms of your preparedness for cybersecurity. An advanced version of VAPT would be the red teaming, where the red teamers are really not aware of what's going on in their infrastructure. And then red teamers are blind people who will go ahead and attack you. And if they are able to penetrate, then there is a challenge. Then, of course, have multi-layers of authentication, which is called MFA, that is required. I had already spoken about continuous monitoring, so I'll skip that. Now, one of the most important thing in this is the security configuration management. There are continuous changes which are happening in the configuration of any IT system or telecom system. And if those configurations are not put to default or to the right portions, then the hackers can come in through those controls which are open. Phishing is a big challenge for any communication infrastructure. So there is phishing simulation which keeps on happening over there. Then in the concluding part, I will just say ensure compliance to data privacy, because that is now we are not just dependent on the GDPR or the California law, we are dependent on our own law, which is the DPDP law. And fourth and foremost is the cyber insurance, because it's kind of a liability insurance which ensures that if you ever get breached or attacked, then the liabilities lessen out and you may not have so much of, financial and reputational impact. So this is a summary which I will leave it, for you to read later if I were to share this presentation. And then lastly, it is about the zero trust architecture. So trust nobody, authenticate everybody. That should be the mantra for any critical infrastructure. With that, I would like to thank you and thank the chair.
Thank you, Alokji. Very good coverage of the various aspects, especially in the Indian environment. Just to supplement few things which probably all of you may be knowing or you may require to note. As far as country is concerned, we already have the overall responsibility with respect to the cyber security is with the National Cyber Security Coordinator, who works with the National Security Advisor and advises to the Prime Minister in all respect of the cyber security. That is the apex body to handle the Indian aspect of the security from the cyber perspective. Also, we have the National Center for the Critical Information Infrastructure Protection, established under the NTRO, who is responsible for providing timely information with respect to any worldwide threat, intelligence gathered by them, issue certain advisories from time to time, and of course, other provisions relating to the CISO, he has brought out. Cyber Range has also been established by the NCSC, wherein along with the defense forces, even the other entities can make use thereof. DPDP, I think the most common topic which all of you are aware of. Only thing which is important from the telecom perspective to you. So note is that by any chance, if there is a breach, the first job, most important for you is, in addition to informing the governmental agencies respect to the breach, you also have to inform to the impacted or the affected parties. Otherwise, there is very heavy, severe penalty provisions in the DPDP. So probably that is what we want to know. But thing is, we understand there are certain norms, strategies, policies which Alok has rightly pointed out, discussed with you. And we feel this may be applicable in the various technologies, especially in the broadband arena. But at the same time, the people say whether the 5G is secure. I think many lectures had gone in this same hall on the 5G security. And we all had been given the due, I should say, the confidence that the protocols have evolved in such a manner that they take care of the various security aspects. Mutual authentication had been there. Network between two elements also there is a provision of the mutual authentication. Then now it is not retrofitting of the IPv4 security kind of the needs, but it is inbuilt IPv6 security things therein. So we all feel that probably 5G is well secured and we do not have much concerns. Fiber side, we know that most of the things, if we are able to take care of the physical security and the specific things what Alok has just shared is also taken care. But in the recent, I think 1 month or 2 months, you all are reading that the big players like the SpaceX, OneWeb was already there, and the other players are entering into the Indian space for providing the satellite funds. And satellite had always been, say, a little concern. Even today, if somebody is traveling from abroad to the country, he has to declare himself that he is carrying any satellite phone. Because carrying satellite phone is a restrictive item as far as this country is concerned. So we all have that kind of the feeling that, okay, at the level where we have the environment of having declaration of the mobile satellite phone, bringing from the abroad to be notified, how the individuals which are going to use these satellite phones after coming or rendering the services by the forthcoming operators in the environment of the LEO physically, So, are they going to be a question? Are they real threats? How the security provisions for the nation, the security provisions for the user, security provisions with respect to the boundary issues, because satellite can work all across. We have the repeater only in the space. So looking into those aspects, I think, let me invite Mr. Devasis Bhattacharya ji to throw some light that how satellite phones and the related services thereon are going to be secured, and if anything, we all have to worry or to gain confidence. I leave the floor to him to take next 10 minutes with us.
Thank you very much, sir, for setting the context. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Myself, Devashish Bhattacharya, Senior DDG at Broadband India Forum. My talk is on ensuring security across the satellite infrastructure. Satellite has been there for a good number of decades, but satellite infrastructure is now likely to permeate very shortly our lives, because we are seeing infusion of satellite for consumer broadband and direct to device, which is around the corner. I wouldn't say if it is there, it is just around the corner. So your normal phones will get connected to satellite very soon, which is currently connected to the terrestrial networks, which is the 4Gs and the 5Gs. While the security aspects of 4G and 5G has already been touched upon by the esteemed colleagues and experts on the dais, I would like to touch upon the fact that we need to be a little more wary and need to sort of understand that how does one secure the satellite infrastructure, and is it really secure, so that we can make our calls as freely as we are doing today using the satellite infrastructure. So it may sound a little bit tutorial in nature, but please pardon me for that. But it's more intended to be a tutorial so that we all get to know and understand that what is the security issues, what are the challenges, and how they can be overcome in the light of the fact that satellite is going to be coming into our lives more and more as we go forward, despite remaining a complementary technology to mobile broadband. In security for satellite infrastructure requires actually a multifaceted approach that includes things like a robust encryption standard, secure communication protocols, strong access controls, and a very proactive vulnerability management detection and protection. This involves protecting both, not just the physical satellite itself, but also the ground segment, and also that the data that is transmitted and received through the satellite infrastructure. So what it needs is a layered defensive strategy, which incorporates regular updates, monitoring, and international collaboration for standardization to maintain a very secure and harmonized satellite infrastructure, which gives you quality communication, reliable communication, robust communication, at the same time protecting and safeguarding your data, as well as safeguarding the infrastructure that you're using. To begin with, I'd like to touch upon the aspects related to the encryption and secure communications. Encryption, implementing a strong encryption algorithms like AES 256 and quantum key QED, quantum resistant methods, is vital for protecting data transmitted to and from satellites. This ensures that even if intercepted, the data remains unaccessible to unauthorized parties, and thereby ensuring that the data that is being transmitted cannot be accessed by others. There is a need for having secure communication protocols, utilizing protocols like IPsec and SSL/TLS, along with multi-factor authentication, helps prevent unauthorized access and manipulation of communication channels. There is a very key requirement for end-to-end encryption, encrypting its data from the source to the final destination across the entire length and breadth of the satellite link is crucial for maintaining data confidentiality. Ensuring that these encryption keys and algorithms are regularly updated is also essential to stay ahead of potential threats and vulnerabilities, and hence the regular updation is a very key requirement as such. The second important aspect related to maintaining security in the satellite infrastructure is related to access control and authentication. As in the case of ground networks or terrestrial networks, you need multi-factor authentication. And this could be in terms of multiple forms of verification such as passwords, biometrics, security tokens for accessing satellite systems, which enhances security against unauthorized access. It also ensures that there is a need for access control where you grant access based on user roles and responsibilities, thereby limiting potential damage from compromised accounts. Also, you would need to have secure entry procedures, which means implementing strict access controls, including strong passwords and regular audit mechanisms, as in the case of ground segment, for preventing unauthorized access. The third aspect that I'd like to touch upon is the vulnerability management. Here again, there is a paramount need for having regular audits and penetration testing to help identify and address vulnerabilities before they can be exploited. There is a need for timely updates and patches, software patches for the satellite software, which is very crucial for mitigating known vulnerabilities. We also have a mechanism for AI-driven threat detection. That is how we leverage artificial intelligence for real-time threat detection and anomaly analysis, which can significantly improve the ability to identify and respond to security incidents and threats. The other aspect related to vulnerability management is pertaining to the supply chain security. By vetting suppliers and implementing secure design practices throughout the supply chain management of the satellite ecosystem, it is essential to prevent vulnerabilities which could be introduced through this particular chain.
Devashish, request to wind up in next 2 minutes.
The last input that I'd like to give in this regard is regarding the collaborative efforts that are needed, which is to develop industry standards, common cybersecurity standards for satellite systems that ensures a consistent level of protection across the industry. And this, since we are now exposed to global satellite ecosystems like Starlink, OneWeb, and others, Amazon Project Kuiper. So we need to have standards which are followed globally, and we need to adopt them the same way as it is being done in other countries. By implementing these measures, satellite operators, we believe, can significantly enhance the security of their infrastructure and protect critical space assets from various cyber threats. In passing summary, I would like to talk about the fact that the security of satellite infrastructure requires a comprehensive and a proactive approach. It should be through a combination of strong encryption, robust ground and satellite system security, real-time threat detection and response, and international collaboration and standards. Adopting these new technologies such as AI and quantum can help safeguard the integrity and functionality of these very, very critical assets. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. With this thing, I think let me move to my important role. I said that what wisdom we have on the dice, probably the wisdom available in front is more than us. So I open the floor to all of you to have, I think we will have 4 questions together. So I request all the members to raise their voices. I think we have gentlemen in the center. Yeah, please introduce yourself. Be very brief because we had been tasked to close by 3:30. I would like to close by 3:30.
Good evening, sir.
Please.
I am Ramesh Kumar, General Manager in GAIL India Limited. I look after the cyber security of our SCADA system, which is bound by NCIPC guidelines for critical infrastructure. My question is with Alok Gupta ji. Sir, we have seen lot of cyber attack related news on applications like aviation or AIMS or nuclear plants. But can you throw light wherein the network of the TSPs or some SATCOMs, those have been compromised? Means any cyber attack on the SATCOMs or TSPs? Any instance of this? Because we have not seen anything related to them.
Yeah, good question actually. So, if you look at AIMS, which is part of the healthcare, again a critical infrastructure, that was primarily because, the software patches were not, done in time, or they were using, operating systems on the desktops which were outdated or they were not upgraded. So, a weakest link in that could be any ransomware attack attacking an endpoint. And if we don't have the XDR and EDR systems in place, then the malware attack can actually spread like wildfire. So that is an example of a healthcare. But if we look at the telecom infrastructure, in fact, Debashish mentioned about a very important aspect which is called the supply chain security. Because if we look at the way, Israel compromised certain, enemy nations by deploying, pager systems or, other obsolete systems where, the supply chain security was ignored. So there are, many instances where even the telecom infrastructure and the, other critical infrastructure and communication have been compromised. But I think more important is the reporting which they have to do to the sectoral CERT and to the NCIPC, which Shakya Saab mentioned. So once that is in place, then, the telecom sector, security can be mitigated. Thank you.
Yeah, just to supplement Alokji, let me share the answer. In case of ISP, we had observed there are many servers which were dedicated to a specific area or dedicated to a specific customers got compromised due to the various kind of attacks emanated from the inimical entities. So yes, there had been. If somebody asks, has there been any attack to switch down BTS or the G node B or E node B? Answer is no. Has there been reports with respect to the stealing the CDRs? Answer is yes. Had there been unlawful activities and some of the mismanagement of the core elements of the telecom networks? Answer is yes. Right. So probably directly impacting to the customers, that kind of environment has not been reported. But telecom, once we say, entire responsibility except the application being used by the customer lies with the telecom service providers. Right. My friend shared the example of the AIMS. AIMS is expert of the medical examinations, research and treating the patients. They do not know how to maintain IT infrastructure. And probably that is the only reason of the failure of the AIMS. People have to understand entire management and the IT teams either have to specifically deploy or kindly go to the cloud, allow the experts to handle them. I think that is the key. Next question is from the left, please. Introduce yourself and be brief.
I'm Amita from Nokia. Good evening, everyone, and good evening to the panel. And I have like 2 decades of experience in technical domain in telecom, but I stand today as a customer, as an end user of broadband connections. So my question is, as a user, so I don't see any technology behind it, whether it is coming from 5G, 4G or 3G or 2G. So as far as the harmonization is concerned, so how the standardization is going to harmonize all these technology for the user, end user? And as a end user, how he can, without knowing from the backend technology, how he will be seamlessly connected to the broadband throughout the state or any geography he will go. So that is my question. Thank
Okay.
you.
May I respond? Or anybody would like to?
I can take it, but also, hello?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay,
Please.
so I think the question, if I understand right, is about harmonizing as the technologies evolve from standards A, B, C onwards, right? So I can only, because I've been participating in some 3GPP forums, I know that that is one of the key aspects, the forum debates, that as you move across technologies, that the user should not suffer, or he should not even be, he should be totally oblivious to any changes happening on the infrastructure side. That is discussed, and whenever the release is passed, this particular element is a must. If it does not meet this criteria, the release does not pass for the next level. So I can talk from the 3GPP standards and ITU standards perspective.
Right. Just to supplement, I think in a very layman words what you are looking at. As far as network which is serving you, a user is not to bother what is happening and how the services are being delivered. They may get delivered on fiber, they may get delivered on 5G, they may get delivered on satellite. So you are right. The responsibility of managing the network lies with the network service providers. Absolutely. And the standard development entities like mentioned 3GPP or the ITU, ETSI in our case, TSDSI or BIS, whatever you say, the responsibility lies with them. But at the same time, behavior of the user is the responsibility of the user. How? Nobody teaches all of us that the Paytm or the Google Pay should be used from a separate account. I think all of us knows we open a small account for this thing. So even if something goes wrong, my entire earning of the life doesn't get compromised. So the amount available with the Google Pay linked or the Paytm linked or the Bharat Pay linked is smaller. Nobody teaches us that if your house in market, the number of people are going to be more and you have to be more vigilant. So if you are the user of such kind of the services in your house, where large number of say fronts get opened to have access to your information, you have to be vigilant. And that is the reason what we say that security can never be done by an individual. It is a cooperative thing which have to be done. In fact, we say neither government can save you, nor TSPs can save you, nor ISPs can save you, and even yourself cannot save you. But if we join the hands together, we can save everyone, make the country proud, and also secure economically stronger. I think we can take one more question and then would like to, please.
My question is Mr. Dhampal, sir. Actually, as we are great to know that various policies are being reformed and making ease for the corporate to use technologies for productivity improvement. Just I would like to know whether it will be possible to connect satellite internet to CNPN network. Like Wi-Fi we can connect, but CNPN is it going to be possible to connect? Thank you.
Okay, so two answers. Technically, yes. Standards available of the 3GPP and ITU, answer is yes. Practical happening in India, no such example so far, to best of my knowledge. I think that should satisfy you. Okay? So, please.
So Am I audible? Yeah. So satellite, as Shakya Saab has very rightly said, there are no examples of satellite-based CNPNs in India, but there are examples of satellite-based private networks which are working in other parts of the world in certain frequency bands, which have been identified and dedicated for exclusively for CNPNs. However, in India, CNPN by itself is a new concept. It has not yet taken off. Sorry to say, the Department of Telecommunication is doing a demand survey for the second time on the same issue, even after 3 years after it was approved by the Union Cabinet. Thank you.
Okay, so I think with this, what I want to share with you is, security is the responsibility of all of us. I think that is the only lesson we have to learn all the time. Not individual can do much thereon. Each one has to contribute its own. Policies are in place most of the time. The frameworks are there. Very well documented SOPs are there, but implementation of them lies in the hands of all of us. Please do that. Unless that is done, we will have the issues of, say, AIMS or the Ernakulam or the suspicions, even to the extent that whether the Boeing 7878 was sabotage or was natural disaster. Right. I'm not making any comment either this side or that side. I'm not even the investigator. But thing is, in the today's world, security is something wherein everyone has to look into different aspects. So you can see the Information Technology Act, you can see the NCIPC related 70B provisions, you can see the guidelines of the DOT licensings and all. As such, we all can feel very safe in terms of the framework available, in terms of the technologies available, the standards available, implementation is in our hand. So with this, I would like to close my discussion with the Sanskrit prayer together with you. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhanaktu, Sahaviryam Karveva, Tejasvina Vadhitamastu, Ma Vidisha Vahe, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Together only we can survive. Together only we can learn. Together only we can face. So be together, make country proud, make everybody feel happy. That is the job for all we are here. Thank you. Thanks a lot to all the learned speakers, and very patient hearing to all of you despite of lunch. I did not feel that any one of you had the sleep. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause for all those wonderful presentations we had in this session, and especially thanking our session chair, Shri R. Sakyaji, for concluding right on time at 3:30 sharp, and also ending the session on that auspicious note. And I would now request you, sir, to do the honors of presenting mementos to all our eminent speakers. We present to Mr. Lakshmi Narayan R. Bhatt. Thank you very much indeed, sir, for that presentation we had from you. To Shri Khandagale Dhammapal Anil. To Mr. Alok Gupta. And to Mr. Debashish Bhattacharya. And may I invite on stage Mr. Shashidharan, MD Bharat Exhibitions, to do the honors of presenting it to our very distinguished, eminent session chair, Shri R. Shakyaji. We are indeed honored to have you here amongst us. Once again, thank you very much indeed. And before we close the proceedings of this session, may I request Mr. Shakya and Mr. Shashidharan to do the honors of honoring our partners We would like to invite our rural connectivity partner, WiSig Networks, the representatives to kindly come up to receive a token of appreciation and gratitude. They're not here. Comscope, smart connectivity partner, Comscope. Yeah, they're coming. Ladies and gentlemen, without all these partners and sponsors, we could not have put up such a successful show. We convey our gratitude to each one of them for associating with us, for partnering with us in organizing this event. The FTTX and Lanyard partner, RA Next. We invite our conference partners. Of course, we have only here with us present Estrom, a conference partner, Estrom, to kindly come up. Associate partners, Sartec and Cyrotech. Startec and Cyrotech. Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for all our partners for extending their wholehearted support to us. And as I request our panelists to come together for a group photograph, ladies and gentlemen, once again reminding, Sartec is here with us. And ladies and gentlemen, please do not forget to hand over the questionnaire for the lottery dip. Please give it either to our support staff here or outside at the registration counter. We will have the lucky draw at the end of the event, and where we have very attractive 6 prizes to be won, 2 for each session. So please also be careful to stay till the end of this conference, as only those who are present at the time of the lucky draw will be eligible to win that prize. Thank you. And would request everyone to kindly remain seated. We do not have a break now. We are straight away moving into our final session, which is a panel discussion session. We'll just take a moment to do up the top table. Thank you for kindly being here with us till the final session, and once again reminding all of you about the lucky draw. Thank you.